What makes my opinion about what it means to be human? Are humans good, evil, or something in between? And if there is hope in humanity, viable? Well, everybody should be entitled to their opinion, but I will do my best to explain my why to these questions. Hi, I'm Michael Heiners Batista, and the questions I just listed won't be answered in full. That is, they would take too long to explain. Furthermore, even when shortened, I will try to explain them to the best of my abilities. The question of what does it mean to be human can be traced back thousands of years, and the answers are not perpetual. William Golding believed that humans are inherently evil, and Friedrich Nietzsche believed that only through suffering will a human meet their potential and that God hindered that goal. I don't agree with either of these outlooks, but both have been considered valid answers to the question, what does it mean to be human? I believe that to be human, I must give up my humanity to God. This is because I am giving up my position of self fulfillment to an omnipotent, omnipresent, and all knowing being. This means I'm not at the center of my life. Rather, I'm called to put others first. A reinforcing, logical argument to my stated point is Pascal's wager. Blaise Pascal used probability to conclude that living in accordance with God is the only rational choice. His logic concludes that there is minimal risk in placing our trust in God. That is, we wager the infinite potential gain of heaven. However, if we deny God's existence, we have the ultimate and infinite loss by wagering the potential on hell. If God does not exist and I believe in him, I lose nothing. By putting my humanity in God, I don't just gain my humanity, I gain everything. Then, as I move to the question, are humans good, evil, or something in between, I again face a question that has been asked over the ages. This time, however, I strongly believe that humans have free will to choose to do good just as much as to do bad. William Golding believed that outside of civilization, humans would become savages. Niccolo Machiavelli famously asserted that men are generally ungrateful, fickle, falsely, cowardly, and covetous, and that leaders should rule based on fear rather than expecting innate goodness from their subjects. While there is some truth to both statements, who is to say that one would not pick the supposed good choice? As in William Golding's Lord of the Flies, the theme of are humans good or evil is a key aspect of the book. In the book, several boys are stranded on an island, and over time they descend into savagery. However, this portrayal of humanity descending into savagery due to our innate evil nature can be seen as unrealistic. That is strictly proven 11 years after the book's publication, when 6 boys were marooned on a Tongan island called Ata. Until they were rescued, the boys were stranded there for 15 months. If I were to sum up the events that occurred on the island, they would be considered far from savage. Unlike Golding's depiction, no one became savage due to the innate evil nature in humans. That is because humans have free will. They can follow Golding's or Machiavelli's depiction just as much as to follow the complete opposite. Lastly, is there hope in humanity? I believe that there is hope in humanity if we, as a race, choose the overall good choices. However, how do we know if a choice is good or bad? That is because there have been instances in history where the supposed good choices are now seen as poor choices. 2 points which demonstrate this are World War II and Jesus' trial. Many Nazi soldiers genuinely believed that they were doing the greater good. As we know today, that is not an interpretation of good actions. Then, in Jesus' trial, he was condemned to crucifixion. The people had a choice of either freeing a murderer or God. They freed the murderer because they believed what they had chosen was a greater good. That is why the good choices need to be based on something, and I base them on God. I believe that as long as I base my choices on what Jesus taught, there is hope in humanity. That way, things from today or from 100 years from now will still be seen with the same narrative. That is my opinion on what it means to be human, whether humans are good or bad, and whether there is hope in humanity. hope I have succeeded in making you think about your own opinion on these topics. Once again, if I were to expand on these points, I could write an entire book and it would never be published as I keep expanding my own understanding of these points. So thank you for listening to my manifesto.